What's going on, everyone? So we're still unpacking and unraveling the Christopher mystery. Who was Christopher, right? What happened to Christopher? Now, we know Christopher was a man that was in FROMVILLE when Victor was very young. We know that he was, at one point, this happy-go-lucky, fun, playing with a ventriloquist dummy, keeping everyone spirits high and happy, and was kind of a bit of a jokester. And then kind of became obsessed with the symbol as Jade did, and he kind of became corrupted and completely changed and didn't really want to smile so much and just became dark. And you see in the most recent flashback with Victor that he is talking to this doll Jasper, find out who Jasper is, and based on the next episode and the look ahead that we got for the next episode, Victor and Henry, his father, are expected to go into the tunnels and retrieve Jasper. Seems to be kind of what the hero's journey that's next up is going to be. But there's also been some inconsistencies with Christopher, right? So originally we were led to believe that Christopher went on this massive killing spree in which basically took out the entire town, became evil and corrupted by the symbol. Well, in Victor's latest recollection, we see that, no, they appeared to be torn apart by the monsters. Now, is it possible that maybe he became the first monster, or maybe monsters came because of him? Maybe something to do with the symbol or something, right? Maybe he made a sacrifice and brought all these monsters too. We don't know, right? There's still a lot of mystery. Also, how did Jasper end up in the tunnels? Is that where Victor lived? After the massacre, is that where Victor or Christopher, is that where Christopher ended up moving to? Did Christopher live in the tunnels? Did he move to the tunnels? Did he take Jasper to the tunnels? Was it the monsters? Did the monsters not kill him and take him to the tunnels? Right? There are so many possibilities and angles in which they can go with Christopher. My concern, though, is it possible, if not likely, that Christopher is all in Victor's mind? What if Christopher, there's two possibilities I look at. One, Christopher just didn't exist at all, and it was clearly just blatantly all in Victor's head, and the ventriloquist dummy and all that. Because you got to understand, he was a little boy that went through something horrific, and so much so he completely blocked out everything. And you had what appeared to be the monsters tear through the town. What if that was his brain's way of justifying what happened to the townspeople, including his mother? Was that this bad man Christopher snapped and became corrupted and ended up killing? What if you see Jasper as all part of, Victor's imagination? Or maybe Victor had another young friend. What if Christopher wasn't old? What if Christopher was young and was playing with this doll? And it's not this ventriloquist dummy for the guy. Or maybe it was the father's, right? Then the other side of it, I could see something where he was real, but it wasn't like what he describes, right? It's something entirely different. And who's to say he was even really talking to Jasper, right? We're gonna at some point find out what's going on with Jasper. And the fact that Jasper talks, what is that? Is it a spirit? Was it Christopher manipulating it somehow? Was it just FROMVILLE doing it somehow? Could Christopher's spirit in essence be inside the doll? Right? There's a lot of different ways that they can go with this, kind of tell that story. But what if even that interaction was all in Victor's head? Right? So let's say Christopher is real. Right? Let's say Christopher was a real person. But who's to say the sequences in which Victor relayed is real? Right? What if him seeing Christopher talking to Jasper wasn't really him, Jasper responding? What if Jasper wasn't really talking at all? It's just some dummy that is just sitting there minding its own business, just chilling. And really what it was you had Christopher just losing his mind, talking and kind of just, talking to a blank doll, but to kind of justify, because you got to keep in mind, Victor was a child. He wasn't some grown man at that point. He was a little kid. So who's to say he was seeing what he really was seeing? I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that Victor saw somebody he cared for, somebody that he connected to and loved in this place, in this space, essentially lose their minds, become a completely different form version of what he wanted this guy to be. And he saw him losing his mind. He saw him speaking to a doll that didn't exist, or maybe it did exist and it just didn't talk back, right? Like, we see Victor retrieve the doll. We've seen the doll in kind of like, visions. Who was it? Elgin, I think, saw the doll. Right? Okay, well, what was that about? So now does Elgin have a connection to Victor? Does he have a connection to Christopher? Right? Is it something else? Right? Like, is the doll like a spirit? Is it something like the music box? Right? Did Christopher come with the doll? Or was the doll already there, and maybe the doll was somebody else's? Right? Maybe the doll wasn't Christopher's. And Christopher, maybe it was the person that was Christopher, because how like Jade is like Christopher now. Right? Maybe Christopher found the ventriloquist doll that was the previous Christopher. If you're picking up what I'm putting down, right? And maybe that's how they were able to corrupt Christopher. Maybe the only way to talk to Jasper is through Jade. Again, Victor was a child. Look, I've begged the question before. How much can you trust and rely on Victor's memories? Like, I've seen a lot of people say, like, I think that they're spot on. I mean, memory is flawed, period. Like, try to remember what you ate at 11 a.m. on Tuesday. Right? And then tell me how accurate. Like, even just things in general. And then imagine if you purposely tried to repress it or suppress it and completely block it out and all this stuff. Like, we've all seen the telephone game. We've all heard somebody tell a story where we're like, that's not really how that happened, or it's not how you remembered it happening, right? Or somebody's told you a memory that you don't remember, and you're like, oh, that's strange. I don't remember that, or I don't remember saying that, or I don't remember doing that, or going there, or whatever. Right? Like, and so you have all these flawed memories, and then you add in the fact that Victor was in this horrendous place, and he was a child, and he suppressed all the memories, and he's trying to use little trinkets and stuff to unlock those memories, and you don't think that some of those things aren't potentially skewed? You don't think some of those things are, potentially misleading and not quite what they seem? They're Transformers more than meets the eye, right? Like, but no, in all seriousness, like, don't you think it's almost likely that at least some, if not all, I mean, he didn't even remember he had a sister. If you can forget you had a sister, and this wasn't like a newborn sister that, he only knew for a week. No, she was like, looked to be like a year or two younger than him. So, if he was able to completely forget his sister that basically grew up with him, went to FROMVILLE with him, he went through all the chaos with, and was able to forget it, you're telling me that, he can't, that everything else is going to be spot on and accurate? I don't really buy that, if I'm being honest. I don't buy that Victor is going to remember every detail through little trinkets. he finds that he buried 30 plus years ago. I mean, are there memories and impactful moments and things that stick with us over? Yeah, there's things that, like, I can think of right now that happened when I was a child that, you know, I can remember pretty vividly. Right? I can even, like, close my eyes and, like, visualize it, right? But one, how accurate are those memories? Is it exactly to a T the way I remember it? And two, even if it is, now imagine that's one of, you know, however many memories I had as a child. And now you're asking Victor to remember people of the town, environments, like, it's just a lot. For somebody that wasn't actively, like, he drew the pictures. Like, I understand the pictures and stuff like that, right? Because you're talking about, like, you know, he's drawing literal scenes and stuff of things he's witnessing and seeing, right? You know, so, like, you know, he draws the boy in white on the merry-go-round or whatever. Okay, that I could buy, like him looking at that picture and remembering that moment, right? But to, like, and again, who's to say he remembers every detail of that moment, right? He says, for example, like the mementos, putting it in the trunk and burying it, right? He says the boy in white gave him the idea. Well, what if the boy in white did it? What if he thought of the idea? What if the boy in white is just kind of his manifestation? It's just like his memories, his mind, right? Again, there's a million ways that you can kind of spin this and go with it. But I just, how much of Christopher is just in his head? Is Christopher even really a person? Right? Just because Jasper's real doesn't mean Christopher is. Just because Victor remembers Christopher doesn't mean that Christopher is real. So it's just things to keep in mind. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, and I pass the question on to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Do you agree? Do you think, like, hey, yeah, it's very possible that he just isn't? Do you think, like, no, like, there, you know, he remembers, it's clearly Christopher. Christopher clearly is a real person and was this person. Again, however you feel, whatever your thoughts are, I'd love to hear it. So let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. It's me enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.